So this is just like an early dev blog for something that I'm working on. That's something like it's gonna be something like a Dark Souls, like the recent Lords of the Fallen, and perhaps something like Bloodborne. That's like much more famous, and that there will be like 5 core classes, and if I can make them, I will try and like add these last 2 here. There will be something like a brigand or a warrior that's somehow a bit poor and perhaps he's struggling to his health and so on. That's called the Lost Warrior. Then one of the classes will be something like the Cursed Merchant that somehow can gather stuff and build stuff or whatever you call it, crafting and so on, to craft something like potions and stuff like you use as weapons. Then there's like the Wicked Amazon, which is something like a mildly criminal chick from the jungle that somehow found her way into civilization and something like hell without wanting to or knowing how that works. Then there's the Madness Sorcerer that somehow is, it's not it's like a spellcaster somehow. And then someone like the Ostracized Cleric that perhaps has lost most of his powers but still got some light spells and so on, a bit of healing left. And if I get some like a chance to create this on like more severe criminal called the Hooded Slayer, right? And also something like in most video games, there's Dungeons and Dragons or some like role playing games. There's something called the Bard, or there's something like plays a guitar or something like an entertainer class that's also usually casts magic, at least in Dungeons and Dragon. So instead of that, I want to create like the Undead Clown, so you can play as these like 7 classes in something like what do you call it, like something like Dark Souls, either Lords of the Fallen or something like Bloodborne, and like the perhaps Dead Space a little bit, but more something like Dark Souls 2 or 3, something like those, and something like Lords of the Fallen is something like what I want to try and like create something like that. And that's that for now. And so far, I just like defined the classes that I want to be in the video game, and some rather stricken people that somehow wandered into a really nasty situation, and they could easily get killed. And there's like monsters and some like really horrific bosses everywhere, and everything, and even the world itself is like trying to kill them. Something like the usual Dark Souls stuff, and that's all what I'm working on.